Kotl is currently one of the best position 5s right now, if not the best. Its utility is quite unbelievable, and after watching the recent Gets to Rank, you might know that I actually reviewed one of GH's Kotl replays in that, and I was a bit inspired. He played it on Dire, and he did some good stacking, and now I don't think I stacked nearly as much as I should have in this game, but we're going to be talking about how to amplify your impact on Kotl, as this hero is super strong. Your team does not deserve your support. But holy crap, do they need it? At gameleap.com, we have hundreds of guides teaching you how the best support players in Dota secretly carry their games with awful teammates without them even knowing it. Start your climb through ranked as the hero of your team today by hitting the discount link to our special offer in the description down below. So first off, you're basically always going to want to take Blinding Light level 1. Why is this? Well, the spell, it gives you a 70% miss chance on any target, right? It's just broken, and in the recent patch, it was reduced from 30 seconds, 30 to 14. That's 16 seconds. I mean, it was like the biggest buff of all time. Right? You have to take this spell. Second off, I'm going to be looking to cliff someone here because this is a big gamer move you can make. So we see Jello on the Visage, right? He's like, oh, maybe I hit this Kotl, maybe I don't. I'm like, see ya! Yoink! And we put him up on the cliff. So, man's just got pranked. That's all I have to say about that. You hit him with the fat question mark, guys. If you're not doing this already, mind game's very important. Blind him onto the cliff, fat question mark. And we're going to be trying to do the same thing to the Legion here. Now, unfortunately, the Dota gods were not with us, and I misclicked. It was a bad attempt. However, regardless, that is one, little cheeky play you can make. Outside of that, what should you be doing with Kotl in lane? Well, for the most part, this hero, your right clicks don't do a lot of damage. You only have 1 armor, so for the most part, all you're going to be trying to do is protect your carry. You notice my carry Alk is getting gone on here, so I'm just going to hit them with the fat Blinding Light to make sure that he doesn't take too much damage, right? The 70% miss chance negates a lot of the damage. In addition, you can push them away. Other than that, all I'm going to be trying to do is sort of poke the carry as much as I can without drawing too much aggro and secure range creeps. That's about it until I can start pulling, which we'll talk about, right? But secure range creep, that's about it, right? And then I can also help with denies to try to keep the lane back. Anything else is really just overthinking it. If you're trading on the side of the wave, you're doing too much. When you're playing Kotl, there's no reason to be standing here, which I see a lot of players doing. They're just like trying to make some sneak attack. Don't sneak attack. You're not surprising anyone. You're just going to surprise them with a 46 damage auto attack and 1 armor hero with 500 HP. It doesn't work. So instead, what you do is you just stand behind and try to secure creeps, as I missed that one, but that's the idea. Skipping ahead here, when it reaches around 130-ish, you want to consider walking to these side camps, right? And this is the triple stack you can be doing now. I ended up only doing it once this game, and I think if I was more comfortable on a Kotl or a better support player, I would do it more. But the general gist is you hit this camp around 153 or 154, then this camp at 155, and then blast this camp at 158, 159, and you stack 3 camps. Extremely good. And what's the best part about this is now I'm also close to the bull camp, right? The only issue is I'm obviously laning against, I'm leading with an Alchemist, and he can't really defend for himself, so it's a bit rough, but he's doing okay, doing a pretty good job staying back. Regardless, I'm going to get the single pull off, just to make sure he can last to under tower, right? This isn't going to save his lane by any means, but I just want to make the Visage come over, so the Visage is not zoning the Alch, and, get a little bit of XP for myself in this camp. And then, yeah, I can kind of go back to stacking. I'm just going to go for the same stacks again. So I did do it actually twice in a row. I forgot. But regardless, this is one of the better plays to make as I kind of mess up that Blinding Light. But this is the general gist of what you want to do. Unfortunately, the Visage blocks my camp now. But there's not too much you can do other than that. We're going to move on to when you can start really have impact again. All right, so at this point in the game, we are now 6 minutes and 41 seconds in. I'm only level 3, which is not good at all. But I've been stacking and pulling and all, so it's not too bad. Regardless, what should I be doing now? What is my role as a Kotl? Should I be roaming? Should I be trying to gank mid? Should I TP bottom to, go fight against the PL? My hero's pretty good against PL, right? I do a lot of magical damage. No, defend your safe lane tower for as long as humanly possible. You notice that's exactly what I do here. I'm going to be trying to secure CS and protect my tower for as long as possible. That's it. That's it, because your hero is unbelievably good at that. With this boots and windlace I picked up, I have 405 movement speed, so it's very hard for Legion to even attempt to duel me, right? And even if she does manage to duel and kill me, I'll be stalling for a long period of time, so it is not the end of the world. But this is all you have to do. Your hero thrives at doing this, so make this your main priority. That's it. Nuke out the wave and protect your tower. And that's essentially all I'll be doing. You notice when the wave is going under your tower, it's very important that you do not CS it here. When you were playing 5 and you were defending the tower, always stand either here or here. Anything else is way too dangerous. You notice I'm waiting to make sure I see that they're diving or not, and then I only hit it when I can get the CS, right? I'm playing it safe. You do not want to take chances. It is not worth it. Play defensive. very, very defensive. Only here now, I know that they're running at my Alk in the jungle, which is very unfortunate. I should have called that out. I didn't. Big mistake on my part. But regardless, there's nothing for you to do as Kotl at this point in the game besides, defend your tower. Otherwise, you are going to run around, have very little impact because your spells are hard to land and not necessarily that good yet or that crazy high impact. It's much better to do this. This creates a lot of space and prevents your team from getting run over later on, right? And then it's going to enable me to have a lot of impact later on because I'll hit it very early timings in general. But same things, tower is basically taking 0 damage by the 10-minute mark, which is very good considering how bad this lane could be. In addition, I'll be picking up bounty runes, so all in all, I think I've had a lot of impact at this point. I'm level 5 and 3/4, almost 6 without a tome by the 10-minute mark, and this is kind of what you want to strive for when you're trying to defend the tower. And you might ask, like, Speed, what do I do if my carry is just, staying in the lane? Well, that's fine, actually. If they're doing alright, then by all means. But if they're having a tough time, make sure you communicate to them. Hey man, like, I can see your lane's going bad, I'll defend the tower, you just jungle for the next 20 minutes. Like, give them some security, some reassurance. Now, at this point, it is now 11 minutes in, and I got ganked top, so what are my options? I can continue back top and defend the tier 2, but really at that point, it's not crazy worth it. Now, I think it might have been the best option. I'm still rethinking about it after the game because it's very important to try to do that to improve. But in this case, I felt like it was the best possible option to TP bottom and start fighting the PL with my Luna, right? And that's what we do here. I'm just going to hit him with a nuke out of vision. Very important to stay out of vision. I tried not to show myself. As a result, we go on the PL. He used his doppelganger for whatever reason, and as a result, I'm able to use my ultimate because I knew he had no more doppel. And because of that, I can charge a blast and we kill him off, right? So that's my first rotation, and the reason why it works is I'm a pretty high level with the early level 6, right? If I don't have level 6, I can't make that play. And that's the importance of gaining levels as of position 5. You need the levels to have impact, otherwise you're just going to struggle. So I'm trying to push this for you guys. Next up here, I hadn't been warding too much, right? So for the most part, I wanted to smoke up and get some wards. However, I'm going to pay attention to my, other cores, right? So how do I approach this fight? First things first, I should have tried to blast from here to stay in my smoke so they didn't see it coming. Regardless, we managed to hit up the PL with a little bit of a blinding light. I wanted to give my Kuka mana so he could, once again, go for a Torn or go for an X or even a legendary sword. But in this case, it just happens to get to the point where my Kuka's kiting out, I'm kiting out, I pop my wand, you just want to kite in and out as Kotl. The main mistake you can make on this hero is consistently running in to the fight and not kiting out. You want to stay alive for as long as possible, as I try to refresh my Luna's beam. Fortunately, did not work. But that's the main goal as Kotl. You should be kiting in and out and trying to get your spells off, right? Give mana to the people who are out of mana, cast your Blinding Light, cast your ultimate, and it's really kind of that simple, but you're trying to stay alive for as long as possible. People get that wrong. They just walk in and die. Stay alive. Do not die. As a 5 player, do not die. The only time you should be really consciously being okay with dying is when you've been death defending a tower to stall out the game. Now getting on to the next part in terms of skill build and talents, I'll just briefly go over them. I'm actually not certain what I think is best on Kotl. I've been watching a bit of Kotl and I personally come to like this build where you max out your Chakra Magic and it allows you to consistently nuke waves and stay full on mana, as well as give your teammates 7 seconds of cooldown reduction on a 14-second cooldown. So I really like how this spell scales. It just seems extremely good for farming and helping out my teammates. So yeah, I just like to go this build. And then I'm going to take 2 points of my Illuminate so that I can push out waves effectively, and then start maxing out my Blinding Light just because I feel like it's a bit better in team fights than my actual Illuminate. That one I'm a bit hesitant on, but I'll leave it at that for now. In terms of talents, the ones I typically recommend at level 10, I recommend you take the 30% XP gain. Your hero really wants levels, right? You have a lot of spells that are good and talents as well. At level 15, please take the 350 cast range. This talent is broken. It is so good. It makes you be able to use your Glimmer, Cape, and Force Staff across the map. It's insane, and cast all your spells a lot safer, which is important because you're trying to stay alive. At level 20, it depends, right? If they have a lot of magical damage or magical damage that can reach you, you should take the 40% magic resistance. In this game, they have a Zeus, correct? They have a Zeus. And because they have a Zeus, I took the 40% magic resistance, right? It makes a lot of sense. A hero that naturally gets to the backline, even someone like Winter Wyvern can do a lot of damage to me, even overwhelming odds, like a lot of long-range nukes. And then finally at level 25, honestly, this one I'm a little bit unsure, because I feel like at this point people can start to kill your Will-O-Wisp, so the Illuminate damage sometimes is better, but at the same time, it can be a bit hard to channel. I'm going to say that I really do prefer the Illuminate damage and heal, only because at this point in the game, it's really nice to have the ability to defend towers and defend high ground with your Illuminate Blast, and because it just gives flat 200 heal, you could channel it for a very short amount of time and still get a lot of damage, which is very convenient for quickly pushing out waves and defending towers, as well as going high ground. But the Will-O-Wisp Flicker is definitely pretty solid. And you notice at this point in the game, like, my team isn't really trying to make any 5-man moves, so what do? I just go push in a side lane. You have to understand, Kotl is very good at this, and you do not need to be consistently running around with your team. It doesn't do that much for them. I'm not going to sit behind them and wait for some perfect ulti. Otherwise, I'm going to stay level, like, 8 or 9 for 20 minutes. And that's what I see with a lot of 5s, and they're like, Speed, why can't I have impact? It's because you don't push in any waves, bro. Just push in some waves. It's like, how do I carry this game as a 5 when my carry's feeding? Push in waves. It's the answer to all problems. Like, literally, you can answer, like, how do we deal with, like, a potential nuclear missile crisis? You just push in the waves and everything will work out. Getting back to the Dota game, I'm channeling my Kotl Blast here. It's very important to channel it A, out of vision, and B, based on nukes. So I see that my Kunkka is going for an X-Torrent combo here. And because of that, I channel my nuke. It is very good to do this. When you see stuns coming in, play around the stuns, or play trying to read movements. Other than that, like, it's pretty hard to land this spell at times. And then next up, I bump into this Zeus here as I'm warding behind the tower, and as I bump into him, I go for the ultimate. You can solo ult people. You have to understand this, guys. It is totally fine if it is a hero that is going to stall your push, right? If it's a hero that is going to stall your push, in addition a high kill, this is their mid laner, have no problem with ultiing them. And then when you ulti them, you want to make sure you push them towards your team and further into the bubble. But really, I just want to go over this one more time because I think it's so important. My team is farming. The game is stale right now, right? I go push in a lane. This is going to allow my team to group up at a tower and potentially take a tower. And second off, I'm pushing in the lane where my wards are. Look at the map. Where are the wards? Where are the wards? They're all bottom. So if I go push in top and my team meets me top, that is awful. It is awful, right? It is genuinely abysmal for me to go push in top if I feel like it is going to force my team to come top. So what do? I push in bottom and I tell them come here. That is it. That is how I play Dota. That is how I get people to do things as a 5. Eventually we end up TPing top here, and honestly I think this is just straight up terrible. I was telling my team after this, well, not after this game, when the game got a little bit later, that we should have just stayed bottom and played around my wards, because that is important. And really, sometimes it is hard to communicate to people, but you really have to try if you're trying to gain MMR. Next up here, let's just talk about fighting. So I see the enemy team pushing mid. They're showing their heroes for whatever reason, and I blast them. And obviously at this point, I assume they were going to run at me based on how they were moving. And really, I don't want to panic. I see 2 heroes next to each other. I'm just going to throw down my ult. Don't overthink it, guys. If you can get 2 heroes in the ulti, just throw it down. As a result, we get a big boat into a big vacuum, and, you know, a pretty good Alk stun as well. And then the enemy team gets wiped. So, very good. In terms of items, don't always buy 2 bracers like I did. I personally went this build because I felt like the Zeus would burst me in the fights, or PL would go on me and just insta-kill me. But 4 staff is 9 times out of 10 better. I think it's okay to buy 1 bracer. I'm really on the fence about Kotl because your high movement speed and long cast ranges make you able to skip things like bracers, where a hero like CM has much lower cast ranges, so you really want things like bracers so you can stay alive. But I'm still trying to figure that out. Regardless, I recommend you go 4 staff and Glimmer Cave. I have nothing else to say in terms of items. Just buy those 2 items. That's it. Now, to end up the video, I just want to talk about one more fight that I found very important and how I approach it and my take on wards. As a 5 player, the main mistake that I see every single 5 make, I've literally never seen a 5 not make this mistake, or at least once or twice in a game. But when the fight breaks out, I try to immediately get down a ward. I know they're coming in, right? I know they're coming in, so I'm going to put down a ward. I actually thought I dewarded that. Unfortunately, I didn't hit it, so this ward gets dewarded. But once I see this ward get dewarded, I'm like, oh shoot, I still need vision, right? And I realized, okay, I'll just put my ward a little bit further back, but I still need vision. We need to see who's coming. When a fight is breaking out, put down your wards anywhere. Put down your wards and put down a sentry. Fight breaks out, I instantly try to glimmer the person who he was trying to duel. He sort of made a mistake, but they still managed to get the duel off. And sort of out of panic, you just throw down the ulti. It's very important that you don't put your ulti directly on top of the person who's in front. Try to put it a little bit more in the middle so that it's going to hit more people in the back. Regardless, we're able to see the Wyvern in the back line, and then... Okay, just some really loud sound effects, but big boat combo. That's legitimately 5 heroes into a blast, into a torrent, into a boat, into a vacuum, into everything. Team white, insta-dead, let's go. And that's about it, but that's the power of Kotl ulti. Even a hero like Darkseer, we hit him with a fat vacuum combo, and as a result, this game ends. Yeah, hopefully you can see the power of this hero. You can stack really efficiently in the early game. You sort of just push out waves and delay the game for your team endlessly, and then you have probably the best, if not one of the best, team fight spells in the game in your Will-O-Wisp. I mean, it's just super hard to kill, unless you have like the perfect heroes for it, such as a Jug or a Lifestealer. But yeah, other than that, cast your Blinding Light in lane, Chakra Magic yourself and your teammates, reduce their cooldowns, and remember, it's only the normal cooldowns, not ultimate cooldowns, but reduce their other cooldowns, and cast your ultimate in fights, and you'll be in a pretty good spot. This hero's spells they just have a lot of impact. So thanks for watching. If you guys just enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Do you want to carry your games, but always find yourself stuck in the support role? On gameleap.com, we have the tools you need to take control of your games as a Pause 4 and Pause 5. With hundreds of guides covering hero specifics and key concepts like ganking and lane control, GameLeap is the place to unlock your potential as a support player. Hit the link on screen right now to take advantage of our special offer for a 25% discount.